What's up? This is Tim Sykes. Happy Easter. I wanted to make a video just talking about a few stocks that I'm watching for next week so that you can be prepared. They're kind of a little strange, as I'll get into. But first, I want to talk about this sale. I'm turning 35 in a few days, which is kind of crazy. But to celebrate, we are having a 35, 45, even 55% off sale on various newsletters and DVDs. We got to encourage you guys to study. Success is all about preparation. I already have a few millionaire students, but I want more. And what it is needed is to get you guys, the guides with the rules. If it were me, if I wasn't a millionaire, if I was just beginning, what DVDs would I watch? I would definitely start with penny stocking and penny stocking part 2. And then I would also watch trading tickers and how to make millions. And spikeability, actually. So those would be my five favorite to start out. I get a lot of questions about that, but they're basics. Trading tickers is by my top student Tim Grattani, who's now taken 1,500, turned into nearly 3 million. He has nearly 40 live trades in this DVD. And then my How to Make Millions DVD is now my best-selling DVD. All goes to charity. $1.1 million raised so far, but it is 35 hours. And it's me and a whole bunch of other millionaire traders just talking about our, rules and discipline and patterns and just the overall basics. This is probably the best, most comprehensive for beginners. So spikeability is my newest one, and it's all about how different stocks spike. What causes their spikes? When do you dip buy? When do you buy breakouts? Stuff like that. So I'll link these sales underneath this video, but enjoy the sales. I'll enjoy being older. The coupon code is old Jew. So I'm an old Jew now, or I'm getting older. But anyways, KBIOQ is back. The Q at the end of the ticker denotes that they have filed for bankruptcy. So this is basically a bankrupt company that is spiking. The other day from the, when it first started trading, in the 2s, and now it's up to the 12s again. This is a stock, if you remember, went supernova a few months ago. I came out strongly against it. I got squeezed a little bit. I didn't make any money. I actually lost several $1,000s. Michael Good, my first millionaire student, also lost a few $1,000s. We were there short the day that it went, just crazy supernova from 2. I think it went up to nearly 20. Or it went from 2 to 10 after hours, but then the next day was nearly 20. But both Michael Good and I were short. We followed our discipline and we cut losses quickly. A lot of other people who do not have discipline, who do not have the right strategy or the right mentor, lost 6 or 7 figures. Everyone brings up KBIO as an example why you shouldn't short sell penny stocks. Oh, it's so risky. And then I point out, well, actually, my first millionaire student and I were both short pretty big positions too when the big spike happened and we cut losses. So as long as you follow the rules, it's not that scary. If you break the rules, then anything's possible. It's no different than driving. If you blow through a stop sign, if you go 100 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone, it's going to be scary. So that's what I'm just basically a glorified driving instructor. But now this stock keeps going, and a lot of people are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" The company is bankrupt. It went up to nearly 50. Then Shkreli, the guy who had pumped the stock, he's under investigation. He's out now. Is this company worth anything? Well, it's probably worthless, but you also have to respect its spikeability. Former runners can run again, not because of anything great that they're doing, just because short sellers remember them and they're scared. And, I'm scared to short this. So I'm going to be watching this. Maybe it can get to 15, 20, 30. I don't know how high it can go again, but just respect former runners, even when they are bankrupt. That said, this opens the door to tremendous opportunity because short sellers are scared. And because it has run in the past and because it's worthless, when it does start topping, it's going to be another great shorting opportunity. So finding shares to short, this is the Achilles heel of my strategy. You won't always be able to find shares to short, and sometimes, you will, but it won't be at the exact right time. So you'll have to try and decide, do you want to short or do you want to just hold off? Sometimes when there are shares available, you're like, well, I think it's going to go higher. So should I short it now and risk some pain? What some people have done, like LX21, the number one ranked trader on Profitly, he likes to box shares. So when there are shares to short, he takes them, and then in another account, he goes long. So in essence, he's hedging his position. Boxing for me never worked. I always screw it up somehow. I've tried it probably 2 or 3 dozen times. No go for me. That said, you trading challenge students, you got treated to a great webinar last week from one of my upcoming millionaire students. Not quite a millionaire yet, but upcoming. He's just passed $500,000 in profits, Mark Crook, and he talked about how to trade these kinds of patterns using options, put options. So that's another area where you can bet on the stocks going down using puts when there are no shares available to short. So watch that webinar. You trading challenge students, you have all your webinars archived. I've lost count on how many archived webinars there are from me, Michael Good, Tim Gertani, but that stuff is gold. So KBIOQ, again, worthless company, will eventually go back to zero or whatever, but right now short sellers are scared and longs are having fun. I would not go long this stock, okay? I know that it might spike. I know that it's tempting, but at any time it could be halted. At any time it could crash again. The risk reward is terrible to go long. So for me, I'm just watching it right now and, looking at it, waiting for an opportunity to potentially short it. Also, CBDS. Another one. This one is up from just like a few days ago. This was 40 cents. Now this is 3.55. So 10 times your money here. And a lot of people, I was shorting this. Where was it? In here. I made a nice profit during a live webinar. I made a few $100 on an overnight short. That was cool. Or actually, I think I got some pre-market. But I covered into, was it this one? Yeah, I think it was this panic. Or maybe it was this panic. I don't know. One of these panics, I was shorting it in the 180s, and I covered right around 160, I think. But this is just a wannabe weed company. Weed stocks have been coming up a little bit. This is another former runner, so you have to respect it. And it actually created a very nice... it would normally be a Friday short squeeze, but the stock market was closed on Friday. So this was a Thursday short squeeze. Where it broke this recent range here around 250, and now it's at 350. I think a better chart would be here on Big Charts. This is just a free website that has good charts. But you can see here, once upon a time, last year, it went from 1 to nearly 4 and came down. And I think that's what a lot of shorts were thinking. I was shorting it, thinking that it would pull off one of these kinds of things again, or this. But I took profits into the panic because, frankly, it's not as liquid as I want. There's not as much volume. It was difficult to find shares to short. Interactive brokers had shares to short, but it would not really show signs of true panic. When I think I covered that morning at like 158. I don't know. You trading challenge students, again, you have that webinar archived. That was a very useful webinar, but it just did not show signs of big panic. So I covered safely, took a few $100s in profits, and now it's just squeezing. So this is another short squeeze. So I wanted to bring up these two stocks. They look impossible to read. It's crazy. They're penny stocks. They can do anything. There's so much manipulation. Who knows? Well, in reality, you have former runners that are now, just short squeezes. And it's not necessarily an exact science. But the cool thing with short squeezes is that that they're up for no good reason, or no lasting reason. I wouldn't say good. Good is an opinion. I don't care why the stock is up, but I do know that both of these stocks will not stay up forever. So all of this week, I will be looking for potential shares to short. And I want them to go as high as possible. In the meantime, the higher the better, because that just gives it more time to crash and more downside eventually. And that increases my risk reward. That's how I think of the market. I don't think of like people saying, oh, Tim, you were betting against this in the ones, now it's in the threes. You were wrong. Well, actually, I was right for when I had it, and it was a nice little panic. I don't mind being, quote, wrong about a stock. I don't care what a stock does a day, 2 days, a week later after I exit a position. I want every stock as high as possible, especially when they're junk and worthless, as you can see here from CBDS. Let me show you. Uh, what was it? I think it was more than 3 years ago. Oh, here it was. This was the big run up from 2 to nearly 20. Um, and you can see it's been tough for these potheads since then. So this is a potential short. KBIOQ is a potential short. I got a bunch of other stocks that I'm watching. I will send out a watch list later tonight, but I wanted to just give you guys a heads up on these two really volatile stocks and a heads up on these sales with these DVDs and newsletters, because it's only a few days and I want you to lock in good pricing and celebrate Easter and celebrate my birthday. So I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow, and I hope you have a great Easter weekend.